All right,
So let's stop.
so now the request has been made. Ultimately, the first part of this whole process that we spent a lot of time on was around getting your support hours, right?
Yes.
That was really, really important, and that's why we spent so much of our time on the webinars earlier,
Yes.
right, Fernando? I think it was the key to get the number of hours that you need to be successful in the program. And now, what we want to talk about here is that you've been approved for the hours, and that you've been approved for the CSIL program. Yay, great, we're moving on, right? And we're going to move on to the next steps. But unfortunately, there's going to be times where an appeal process may be necessary. That it's possible that the hours that you were expecting to get was denied,
Okay.
and you have the right to appeal that decision and have it reviewed. And I think that's so important for people to know, because a lot of people feel that once they've been denied, and that's it, and it's done.
From personal experience, how often would you say that someone's required to go through an appeal process? Just the best.
No, Fernando, it's a good question, and I would say that unfortunately we're seeing more and more that people are having to appeal that decision.
Is that because is it just because of the application letter, or are there other things involved?
So usually the appeal is more around the hours, not so much
You want more hours?
not so much the CSIL program. I mean,
Gotcha.
we do see sometimes that people are denied of the CSIL program, more because maybe somebody was trying to apply under phase one, but they may be in a situation where managing it all themselves would be challenging for them.
Okay.
Or the misunderstandings that we talked about last time, where because I have a speech impediment, they feel that phase one is not suitable for me. But in actual fact, I have a great communication device, and I'm able to communicate quite effectively. Thanks very much. And we can appeal that way. But I would say most often, case managers are on top of that, and they're not going to deny you the CSIL program because of that, because they're professionals and stuff. But there's times where that falls apart, and then you need to know that there is an appeal process. So most often, though, like I said, it's appealing the hours.
Gotcha.
And so we'll probably talk more about appealing the hours versus appealing the decision to go on CSIL. But you should also note, I guess, and we talked about myth busting, right? Mm-hmm. The CSIL program is available throughout the whole province of British Columbia. All health authorities provide access to the CSIL program. So if you've been told we don't offer that here, they need some further information. They need some help because they're not aware that it actually is. And because you cannot not offer the CSIL program because it's a core part of the Ministry of Health program. Right. So let's talk about the appeal process. You've requested 6 hours a day, and they've only given you 4 hours a day.
Okay.
And and they've come up with their reasons why, and sometimes they verbalize that to you, the reasons why. Sometimes they put it in writing to you. And sometimes they don't provide you enough information at all to make that of why, And so you need to inform your case manager right away that you're planning to appeal the decision. And that is okay for you to do. That's your right to do.
Yes.
You're not being disrespectful to the case manager. Because a lot of people go, "Oh, my case manager is going to hate me if I do this." But the case manager is just doing their job in regards to exercising the policies that they can work within. So I want to be really clear about that because no one should be scared about going to their case manager and saying, "I disagree. I need more hours," and proceed forward. Is it a real concern for some? Absolutely. Some people feel they have been reduced even further if they do appeal. Some have experienced that, But ultimately, it is your right to appeal.
Yes.
And there is a process in place for you to do that can be reviewed all the way up to the Ministry of Health, which is very good. So let's go ahead and walk this through. So the other component is, so you've informed your case manager. Your case manager should provide you the process. So they should give you a brochure, a pamphlet, the website to go ahead and do the appeal.
Is it almost all done online now, or?
A lot of it's done online. You can do it by telephone. You can
Okay.
do it by in writing. You can do it in person.
Right.
You know, there's many ways
Okay.
to do that.
Okay.
So there may be, you know, when you tell your, you know, case manager that you would like to appeal that decision, it does give an opportunity to the case manager to go back and speak to her manager.
Yes.
And so her manager can intervene at this point. So, you know, let's discuss it further. You know, what is he saying? Why is Paul saying that he needs more?
Gotcha.
Right? And maybe there's some new information the case manager wish he provided to the manager. Because what happens is most often the case manager is not the one that's making the final decision. The case manager is the one that is there to gather the information for their managers to make a decision on.
Okay.
So sometimes, you know, when you say that you want to appeal it, if you provide further information at that time, that may be a good thing to do.
Okay.
But ultimately, you're going to have opportunities to provide more detailed information if necessary.
Can I just ask you something? If you're getting 6 hours with an agency, will you get a minimum of 6 hours if you ask for it?
If you're getting 6 hours with an agency, it would be our expectations that you would get 6 hours of CSIL funding as well. I should say that when you do go on the CSIL program, they do review you again, you know, as they are to do every year anyways, right? Every year, even within an agency system or on the CSIL program, the case manager normally comes in and does kind of how's it going? Do you need anything else? Is there something else we can help you with?
Right.
When you ask to go on the CSIL program, that also, they do take the opportunity to do that review as well. But it is the Ministry of Health's understanding that if you're getting 6 hours through the agency, you should also be getting 6 hours when you move on to the CSIL program. You know, unless there's something that's changed in your life that they weren't aware of, and that would be the only reason why you should be reduced, right? And that's the concept, right? And you know, and I would say that happens most of the time, but there is the odd time that, you know, that they discover that perhaps there is a reason why that you need to be reduced. But the Individualized Funding Resource Center, BC Coalition of People with Disabilities, there's others that would really support you that, you know, if you were getting your 6 hours a day on the agency system, there would have to be a pretty compelling reason why that wouldn't happen on the CSIL program as well. So great question, by the way.
So there's a web link there that.
So the case manager should provide you with the health authority's patient quality review board information. So there's a link at the bottom here. I'm going to click onto it. This is the review board, but maybe let's see. Is this the one?
So for those of you that are online, you should be able to click on that link and.
So are people seeing this one right now?
Well, on their own home computer. I'm not sharing my screen, but you can do that on your computer.
Go ahead and click on that.
Make sure. 1 second here. Where is that file? Okay, so it should take you over to the website. That's the title of the page should say Patient Care Quality Review Board. And this is basically to take you through the complaint process.
Yeah, I was trying to see it on mine, but I can't seem to click on it for some reason.
No, because
let me just try.
You online?
Okay, so this is the list of places where you can phone to log your complaint. And I want you to know that you can do a formal complaint or an informal complaint. I think that's really important for people to know.
What's the difference?
Well, because an informal complaint means that you could just have a discussion with them to understand.
Oh, I see.
To understand their system, their process. You could tell them a little bit about your situation. What do they think about that? So if you just wanted to explore it with them a bit, you can do that. And then, you know, but if you want to proceed forward, you need to make it really clear that you are making a formal complaint. If we turn to the next thing on the PowerPoint.
So we can wrap up this page.
Oh, hang on just 1 second. Let me just see here. So it walks us through the patient care quality office. information, right? And here is a list. No, this one is this the list of all of them, right?
This is a list of the locations and the telephone numbers of all the health authorities that you can make a lodge an informal or the formal complaint would be something in writing, or it would just be when you call up and say, I would like to make a complaint.
And that can be done by voice. Absolutely.
Okay.
It can be done on the phone.
Right.
It can be done by email, and it can
Yes.
be done by mail.
Now, would you have to provide some information, personal information, or can you be anonymous about this? Or
That would be your informal process, right? If
Right.
you don't want to provide your name and stuff,
Okay.
you can do that informally, but nothing will come after the phone call.
Yes.
But if you want to do it formally, you do have to be prepared to give your name, your address, all the information,
Right.
and start going. And you should know that you can request to meet with them in person, and like I said, or you can do it over the phone.
Okay.
And you don't have to do everything right away. You can start a formal process, ask how it works, and they can say, well, can I get all the information? If you want to take a day or two, you can let them know, you know what, I'm starting the formal process now. I'd like to book a time with you to do it, because you want to digest the information that they just provided you. I'm hoping to give you enough information here, but it changes regularly, right? So make sure you really understand the process, and you can call them back. You'll get a contact person and all that kind of stuff and work with them. So
that's great.
So
the next portion here was
yeah, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
So you've contacted the patient quality complaint. You like I've said, you can do verbally, in person, or on the phone. And I think the reason why I wanted you to maybe call back or set up an appointment later on is, actually, you just want to make sure you're prepared to present your information the way they need it to be presented.
Yeah.
So really, you should be doing that even prior to making this phone call now. Right, so if you haven't done your supported lifestyle plan, or if you haven't reviewed your supported lifestyle plan, or perhaps you actually want to see their time task analysis, because maybe you did yours and then you haven't seen what they've done, right? So how can I argue a point if I don't understand
so you're allowed
what they're
to see
doing?
that. That's your
absolutely.
record.
It's your record. You're always, by the way, everybody should know, you're allowed to have, it's under the Freedom of Information, you're allowed access to your files. And you can access through the Freedom of Information through each of the health authorities, you can request your file. And you can request your whole file if you want. So you can request either a certain report, specific records, or you can ask to see everything. And everything means that you have the right to see your case manager notes, emails that went back and forth, that kind of thing,
blackout.
There are the other blackout. Only the blackout information would be things if it was a third party happened to be mentioned within your file, right?
So you don't need a doctor's. You don't have to go to your doctor to get them to request the file. Like
the doctor doesn't. No, the doctor doesn't have to, but you do have to do it formally.
Gotcha.
Which means that you have to fill out a document. Usually, it's online.
Okay.
Freedom of Information, and each of the health authorities have access to that. And if you don't get all of the information, you need to contact them again to say, hey, you missed something if they did. And ultimately, the provincial government has a Freedom of Information that watches over top of everything.
That's good to know.
But the health authorities are not going to have a problem giving you that file because that is your file. At the end of the day, it is your information. So getting access to that, it takes a bit of time. So in your decision, you can call and say, look, I've requested my file. They themselves, the people at the patient quality care office, maybe they'll help you with that process too. They're going to tell you have to go and do it. But if it's been 1 week or 2 weeks and you haven't received it within the timeline they suggested, you can go back to your quality office person and say, hey, I haven't gotten it yet, and they will help you with that.
Okay.
Because they want to, and as you'll see down the line here, they have 40 days to process your complaint, right? So,
sorry, can I ask a question about the 40? Is it
40
they have to do it
working
within
days.
the 40, or
They have to complete their review and have their decision within 40 days.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So,
Business
business days, yes. So if you go beyond the 40 days and it's you that's causing that to happen, right? you can give permission to extend it further, right? So it means that maybe you wanted an extra couple of weeks, right,
Okay.
to be able to do some more work on the file, to be able to provide them some more detail, right? You can extend that as well.
Okay.
How do they feel about an appeal? Some of them probably aren't too crazy about it.
Well, the patient care quality office, so that's what they do,
Yeah.
right? That's their role. You know, do the health authorities mind you doing that? You know, they made their decision, and it's your right to appeal, and they shouldn't have a problem with you doing that.
There's more work for them, isn't it?
There is some work for them, absolutely, and heck of a lot of work for us too. I got to add,
yeah.
right? You know, so you got to be ready to be serious if you're going to take this or not, right? Kind of thing. So it is pretty much a internal review, though. This is the process, right? So this patient quality office, though, is a separate office within the health authority system, right? So they're the ones that will contact, you know, all the people that made the decisions and review your case and review why you think. Take the information that you provided of where the unfairness was or that component, and they will investigate, and then they will write a report with a decision and a recommendation. And then if you're not satisfied with that report, you then you're able to move it to the Ministry of Health through that board, through the actual act where it can actually be reviewed.
Should we take a look at the website
that
that we have?
Yes, please.
So the first website link here, you can open it up at home. It's about the patient care quality office. So this.
Okay, but then you'll be able to go to.
So there's where is it?
It is under Patient Quality Review Board. Oh, here, patient quality review. Go down a bit more. What happens? What if I'm not satisfied? Now click on the blue one there. Do people see this?
No, they're at home. So about 3/4 of the way down, there's another title. What if I am still not satisfied? If you don't feel your concerns were resolved based on the response of the Fraser Health Patient Care Quality Office, contact the Patient Care Quality Review Board for an independent assessment of the matter, and we're just going to link over to that title.
But ultimately, what's going to happen here is that you'll have a chance to officially put another complaint forward.
Right.
And then,
Right.
and then this particular board is kind of a secretariat that actually pulls it all together, all the information, so they get the information of what happened within the health authority. Using Fraser Health, by the way, is only as an example, by the way. All health authorities are utilizing the patient quality care process, patient quality office. But you know, so what happens is the secretariat pulls all the information together, all the data that was provided, and how they came to their decision. And then another board comes together to make a decision on this, right? So so you can take it all the way, and it goes right to so a recommendation comes forward from this particular board, and it will go to the Ministry of Health.
So it goes. They do it.
Right. They take it all. Right. So they.
Gotcha.
You know, they'll ask you for more information if it's necessary, that kind of stuff, if they feel that something's missing.
Does anybody ever get a lawyer involved?
Some do get lawyers involved, yes. You know, we're, you know, having access to an advocate or that kind of thing is a good idea. Not doing this alone, having some people that that care about you and support you. I would completely recommend not doing this by yourself. You know, even someone like myself, who is been doing this for over 20 years, needs someone to be with me.
You have it yourself
during this process. So I use someone that I care about, who cares about me, and is able to share that information back and forth, so I can make a good decision, right? And because it becomes overwhelming, and frankly, I always find personally it's easier to help somebody else through the process than helping my own self. And I think you'll find that to be the case too, right? And that's because we're so affected by it, right? So even our bodies change and our reactions.
Yeah, it's very emotional.
Right, absolutely. So So definitely utilize this process. Again, though, go back to the case manager. Hope that the case manager and their manager could do a little bit of reviewing and stuff beforehand, so that you don't have to go through this process. But this process is here, and we should use it. Again, this is about setting yourself up so that when you're on the CSIL program, you're in a position of success, right? And that's why you need to make sure that you have the right hours as you move forward.